middle class is going to get wiped out and move down to the working class by 2030.
The sudden closure of Spirit Airlines is one side effect of a trend that is going to exacerbate significantly in coming times. That trend is the erasure of the middle class.
The middle class is dying before our very eyes in America right now.
Over the last few decades, middle class America has been shrinking. Wages haven't kept up with inflation. Housing costs has been skyrocketing, and everyday essentials are taking up more of people's income than ever before. You can work full time today and not cover all the basic living expenses. So the question is the middle class disappearing, or is it just evolving into something we don't recognize anymore?
The middle class is about to disappear. If we go all the way back to 1945 after World War II, that's when the middle class started. And there were a lot of reasons why it happened. Part was the GI Bill. Industries were taking off. People could actually build a good life for themselves. Working at minimum wage, they could survive. That's all gone, and it's about to end soon.
The middle class is going to get wiped out and move down to the working class by 2030. They've warned you about AI technology. Amazon laid off 30,000 people. Okay. Robots can do drywalling now. They can have fully autonomous McDonald's, fully autonomous banks. We have decentralized finance. I manage all my own money, guys. The decentralized system is here. So what it's about to look like is the worst roller coaster you've ever been on.
So I was laid off from my corporate job making 200 grand a year. So I'm going to go ahead and expose the AI companies and what their plan is. First thing you need to understand is the different stages of AI. First and foremost, you have stage one, which is just general AI, Gen AI. That is like your ChatGPT. You throw in an input, it gives you an answer. Pretty basic. Now, the second one is called agentic AI, and that is the one that is able to replicate all the things you do. This is what is taking most people's jobs right now. This is kind of the hot topic, but there's two more stages. The next one is artificial general intelligence. This is essentially AI having a brain. It can predict and forecast, and it's essentially learned enough from all of us that it's able to perform duties and forecast and pretty much get things done on its own. This tech actually exists right now. However, it is not available to the public, but there are companies that are, well, let's just say I won't mention them, that are using it. And then lastly, there's superintelligence. Superintelligence is like the ultimate form of AI. This is like the Terminator scene.
The sudden closure of Spirit Airlines is one side effect of a trend that is going to exacerbate significantly in coming times. That trend is the erasure of the middle class. And you can see this because Spirit Airlines was the most affordable option. People would clown on it for that, but it was available to the American people. Now that gas is more expensive, now that tariffs have made everything more expensive, they had to close. They're not going to be the first ones. All of our affordable options are going to start closing, and everything is going to be premium only. You're going to have to pay premium prices at all times on everything because gas keeps going up. You understand gas is required for every part of our industry, right? We need gas to move things. We need gas to put those things together. We need gas to move those completed products to other places. Y'all need to pay attention.
We have a commander-in-chief that is saying we should be prepared for fatalities because that is expected with war on American soil. We have 92,000 jobs that have been lost in February, even though we were expected to have a surplus. Everything that was said in the State of the Union address was BS. Because nobody is benefiting from the current era of America except the ultra wealthy. Everybody else is going further down the totem pole. The cost of healthcare is getting more costly. Premiums are going through the roof. Medications are going through the roof, right? On top of that, people are losing Some parents are losing access to daycares because of this administration. We have facilities that are closing down because of this administration. Organizations that were going in, helping people, helping the communities to pull themselves up, having to close down because of this administration. But MAGA will try to sell you the lie that this is beneficial for America. The only people that are benefiting are the ultra wealthy, and they were going to benefit regardless. The everyday American is suffering under this administration, and it is ludicrous for people to act like this is not occurring.
The middle class is dying before our very eyes in America right now. It's gotten so bad to the point where the middle class lifestyle has now become an aspirational thing to many Americans. It almost now feels like there's only really like three classes, which is like your affluent, your upper middle class, and then your lower class struggling American. And the middle class is like this tiny, tiny minority in between the mix. Like, people with middle class incomes can no longer buy homes. They're struggling to pay their bills, struggling to afford solid vehicles for themselves. Not to mention, many in the upper middle class are also facing just unsurmountable amounts of debt right now. The middle class was never intended to feel rich, but it also wasn't intended to feel poor or feel like you have to live paycheck to paycheck to get by. If this isn't a sign to lock in and get out of debt, I don't know what else is. Like, Americans need a breakthrough right now. They need a breakthrough financially, need a breakthrough when it comes to debt, they need a breakthrough when it comes to affordability. You can't afford shit.
We have negative debt to income ratio in America. American savings are drained. We have $1 trillion in credit card debt. We're at 120% debt to income ratio. We have an overvalued stock market by 230% based on Warren Buffett's indicator. We have a bond market that's destroyed. Okay. Russia was taken off the SWIFT system. Remember when Biden was president? Think about that. Russia was weaponized by the US dollar. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa working to de-dollarize. And now the Straits of Hormuz are bringing America down to its knees. Every time the straits are closed, one day gives 3 days worth of damage. We're 2 months in now, guys.
The middle class is divided in 2026, and it's based on when you bought your house, if you have student loans, and if your children are in daycare. Let's say we have a street with 3 houses that are identical. They're all worth $450,000. There's a boomer couple, Gen X couple, and a millennial couple. Let's say the boomer couple bought their house 30 years ago. It's paid off, and they have property taxes and homeowner insurance for $600. Their student loans are paid off, and their kids are adults, so they have no daycare. Their big 3 is only $600 a month. Their next door neighbor, the Gen X couple, let's say they bought their house 10 years ago, 12 years ago, refinanced in 2020, 2021. Their housing payment for the same house is about $1,500 out the door. They have 1 student loan left for $500, and their kids are in junior high or high school, so they have no daycare, so it's $2,000 a month for the big 3. Now, the millennial couple who just bought 2 years ago, their monthly payment out the door with taxes and everything is $3,200. They have 2 children in daycare for $2,000, and they have 2 student loans for $1,000 total for $6,200. This millennial couple would have to gross $100,000 to pay taxes, 401k, and health insurance to take home the $75,000 needed just to pay for the big 3. This doesn't include their $1,000 of groceries, a car payment, credit cards, school supplies, cell phone. This is why millennials and Gen Zs are saying that at this phase of their life, to be middle class, they have to make $120,000 to $150,000 to even be able to buy a house and get into this market. But when you have Gen Xers or boomers or even elder millennials who happen to buy very young, they got in before the American dream yacht left the dock. The middle class is divided in 2026, and it's based on when you bought your house, if you have student loans, and if your children are in.
Now is the time to act. If there wasn't any more motivation or any sign from whatever up above to act, if you pay attention to what's going on in the world today, you see it. It's out here, man. Things are changing. Deployment landscape is changing. It is going to become in the next 10 years either you rich or you poor. There is no middle class. That shit's being wiped out. And if you're not paying attention, you're missing it because it's happening right in front of your eyes. So we got to get more passionate about our side hustles, man. Stop thinking that these jobs love you because they do not. They are not your family. It is your job.
A lot of people finally started making middle class money, but it's 2026, not 2014, and there isn't a middle class anymore. You're either rich or you're poor. And when people realize that, old and young, a lot of people start doing van life because they figured that was the only way to get ahead without working 3 to 5 jobs and totally burning themselves out. And I didn't realize how many older people were doing van life, especially the ones on Social Security. it's a lot of 60-year-olds and up living in their van, and they're pretty happy doing it, by the way. And also battling health conditions and still able to manage the lifestyle. So, unfortunately and fortunately, humans are able to adapt to difficult periods of time. And I just wanted to bring this to you guys' awareness, because honestly, I didn't even know how many older people were doing van life until I started doing it myself. And don't feel too bad, because at the end of the day, it could always be worse. As usual, if you agree, make sure you like, share, and repost. And if you don't, leave a comment and let me know why. Peace.
And so if there's not a middle class of America, I'm afraid to see what's going to happen on the other side of that. Like, you can't snuff out the middle class. You can't just make a haves and a haves not class. You know,
we've seen how that's played out.
We've seen how that's played out. And it's like, you know, I knew that this second term with Agent Orange would be bad. Mm-hmm. I just did not know it would be this bad. And I have some serious concerns about where we are heading. And I feel like this midterm election will be the determining factor of if we fall off the cliff or just stop right at the edge.
Will it be?
Will it be?
The numbers tell one story, but people's everyday lives tell another. And right now, both of them are pointing in the same direction. So whether you think that the middle class is disappearing or changing, it's clear that something isn't working like it used to. Let me know where you stand in the comments.